Julia, welcome to the Parent Exchange.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for having me. So it's nice to meet everyone. My name is Julia de Montagnac, and I am doing my Girl Scout Gold Award project. And I created a program called Coloring Confidence for students with language-based learning disabilities. And I help them with art projects in their language arts and history classes. And all the projects we do are based on art integrated learning.
It's really wonderful. Now, did you have dyslexia or a language-based disability? Where did you see the need and why did you think you needed to create this resource?
So I don't have dyslexia or a language-based learning disability, but art has always been a very big passion of mine and a hobby of mine. And when I was in about second grade, I struggled a lot with reading. And like I said, I didn't have dyslexia, but the struggle was enough that I had to be put in a specialized reading class. And my confidence was severely deteriorated being in the specialized reading class. And so I eventually graduated out of the specialized reading class and I was put back into what was categorized as a normal reading class. But even being put back in that class and having the ability to succeed in that class, my confidence had been deteriorated so much that I never wanted to raise my hand or ask questions. And I never felt as smart as my peers. And so, like I said, art has always been a huge passion of mine. And while I wasn't confident in the classroom, I was really confident while creating art because there's no boundaries in art, there's no right or wrong in art. So I was able to take creative risk in art and I was able to make amazing artwork and I was able to be confident and express my passion through my artwork. And through that lesson of taking creative risks and being rewarded, I transferred that into the classroom, into my language arts classroom. And I started taking risks by asking questions and raising my hands. And I started seeing that when I was asking questions that a lot of my peers were asking. And when I was offering answers, I was offering the correct answers. So my confidence was boosted. And so even though I only had about a year of that experience of my confidence being deteriorated and being told that I had to be put in the specialized reading class because I didn't have what was qualified as the normal reading ability, I am now so empathetic to students with dyslexia and other language based learning disabilities because they experience this throughout their whole entire lives. And throughout their whole entire lives in the educational system, they're being told that they don't qualify for that normal reading class. And I don't think that we should qualify one thing as a normal reading class and another thing as a specialized reading class. And everyone has the ability to succeed academically. But what I definitely learned through my experience of creating this program is that the brain structure of someone who is going to excel in a specialized reading class or who needs art integration to help them and excels through art integration is different than the brain structure of someone who's going to excel in a normal reading class. But you don't really hear that. And so most schools teach information in a one size fit all kind of model. And so for that student whose brain isn't necessarily going to understand and comprehend that information that's given in that one size fit all kind of model, they are going to feel like they don't deserve to be in that normal reading class because they're not as smart. And I wanted to show these students that they could use other tools like art integration and use their passions for art if they have a passion for art to succeed in reading or history or any other class, and that their confidence shouldn't be deteriorated.
I love that. And you hit on a lot of important points. One that we haven't quite figured out inclusive education in this country in our traditional school systems. And, you know, like you said, there can be a stigma when you get pulled out of the traditional classroom and you're put into some kind of learning support. And that can do things to a kid's self-esteem. We know that. And then I love on your website, you have like information on the science behind what you're trying to do, the neuroscience. And a lot of us education advocates, we've been talking about the science of reading and the science of learning for a while. And finally, we're starting to see some action at the state level where states and school districts are starting to align their practices with the actual science of reading and learning. So I just think it's wonderful the amount of time that you've already put into this project, the research that you've done to make sure that it's evidence-based, which I think is really wonderful. Where are you doing? Where are you implementing your program?
So right now, my program is in 2 elementary schools in central New Jersey, where I'm in, and I'm hoping to expand maybe to a few more elementary schools in central New Jersey. But to expand beyond that and to expand nationally, which my dream would be, or internationally, and to have a lot of people to integrate our integration into their lives, I have created my website, like you said, and I try to provide as much information for parents as I can, because I know the process of me saying to help your child, you need to integrate our integration, and a parent might not know what art integration is. So on my website, like you have here, I have the art integration page, which has a ton of information for parents about what art integration is to help them better understand it. And then they can move on to the project page with their children, where they could help their children with these projects. And on the project page, there's detailed instructions for specifically for parents to help their children walk through these projects. But I also record videos while I'm creating the project. So if the student wants to go on their own and do the project, they could watch the video of me doing it and then follow the video instruction as well. So like you're showing, these are the projects that we have so far on the project page.
They're great. They're wonderful. And I love that you've done a video component for kids. Tutorials are always really helpful, especially for kids with learning differences, because sometimes it's not enough to just read the words, but to have somebody present the information in a different way is really helpful for our students with learning differences. So you have a really great website with lots of information. Like I said, you talk about the science behind reading disabilities, and just, I think that is so helpful for parents. And then you talk about art integration. What is it? For some folks, we may not understand what art integration is and how we can implement that in our children's education into their everyday learning. So I love all the work that you put in to this website and this program. And my hope is that parents in this group this is another resource for you parents to support your students. And, it's designed for students with dyslexia or other language-based learning differences. But I think there's something wonderful here for any student. They can all appreciate it. And we know that a lot of methods that support our students with learning differences can also help our typical learners. And so this is just another great tool in our toolbox as parents and educators. And it came from a Girl Scout. And you're in your junior year. You're not even in your senior year yet, Julia.
Yeah, I'm in my junior year.
That's amazing. And so I know you're going to work on this over the rest of this school year and into your senior year. What are your plans after high school?
So after high school, I hope to go to college. And like you said, I do have the neuroscience page. And right now, I'm very interested in neuroscience or something having to do with medicine. But this project has definitely got me very interested in neuroscience, just because, like you said, there's so much neuroscience and other scientific research behind these language-based learning disabilities and all learning disabilities. And I just find it so interesting because I feel for people who aren't necessarily educated about language-based learning disabilities or dyslexia, there's sometimes more of that stigma of it's the student's fault that they are not exceeding in what are sometimes categorized as a normal reading class. And the student has to work harder and within the bounds of this standard teaching model that schools put on these students. And the neuroscience directly contradicts that, showing that it's not these students' fault. It's no one's fault. It's not a fault that someone's brain is structured differently than someone else's. And I just hope parents and other people can be educated from that. And I also don't want students to think that the fact that their brains are structured differently puts them at a disadvantage. Like I said on my website, it doesn't put you at a disadvantage. It actually puts you at an advantage in some aspects of your life, and other aspects you're going to have to use other tools. But there's so many great artists and people who are entrepreneurs and have amazing lives and have done amazing things because they're able to see the world differently because their brains are structured like this.
I couldn't agree more, and I have no doubt you are going to achieve your dreams and do well post high school. And we'll be cheering you on here at the Parent Exchange. We will share the link to Coloring Confidence, to Julia's website, and all of her resources in the chat thread with the video. And I hope you all will check it out. Like I said, there's just some great activities there for your kids to do, whether they are neurodiverse or not. I think they would get a lot out of those activities. And as parents, great resource for you to learn more about the science of learning and the science of reading, and how we can better support our students if they do have a learning difference, which I think is really important. So Julia de
Montagnac.
De Montagnac. I'm so sorry. I needed more coffee this morning. But thank you for joining us today on the Parent Exchange. And as you grow resources and, really build on your program, come back. You're always welcome here at the Parent Exchange and Parent Support for Online Learning to share what you're working on, because I think you're doing great things.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. Wonderful. Well, everybody, we will see you next time on the Parent Exchange.